slept in a conference room under the tablecloth we use for our trade shows. That was my blanket.
That was your blanket.
Yeah.
No pillow.
No. The pillow was was some company uniforms.
Well, that was the first time I've seen you with the employee number 7 uniform on.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it's yellow.
Well, that's what everybody used to say about my green shirts.
Yeah.
I mean, they were green.
You're green.
Like, yeah. Crystal Clean's shirts are yellow.
They are extremely yellow. Yeah. I like them. It's a nice dry weave kind of thing there. So I'll get to put it on here again in about an hour and a half.
And go rolling again.
Yes, sir.
So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about can you handle the trip hazards in business? And sometimes when you look at it, there's bumps in the road. And bumps in the road are things like, your surface cleaner throws a bar. Not a big deal, easy to recover from. Bumps in the road are those little things, running out of gas and you got to go to the store and get more gas for your machines, that kind of thing. But when you've got those big trip hazards, which are when certain things happen that can be actually very devastating to your business. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that this evening and kind of go down that road, that path a little bit. And I like knowing where you're at, because if you just lean a little bit to the right, lean a little bit to the right, Ray. A little more. Let's stop right there. Let's stop.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we're not even drinking. There you go.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. I actually have to. I got to go out again on a second day tonight. So.
Well, how come you got to put in so many hours there, Ray?
Oh man. So yeah, this is and this is part of the pitfalls of business. We had two of our employees just decided that they did not want to be part of the corporate culture, and they turned in their resignations and left. So, which and they did it in a real crappy way. They knew that corporate was coming in to do changeover and transitions into our books, and so they did it. The morning that corporate showed up, and we're literally booked out. I mean, guys can have as little or as much overtime as they want these days working with us, and it is what it is. I mean, I'm kind of heartbroken about it, but at the same time, they were some cancer in my organization, and I'm happy that they're cut out now, because Tanya and I had a realization that I'm tired of your prima donna, jackwagon attitude. See ya. Bye.
That's so the thing about it is this is where you get into a trip hazard. Okay. You've got to be able to survive that trip hazard, because a trip hazard, you can fall down, you can bust your shoulder, and it can put you out of business, kind of a thing. So can you survive? And Ray's used to pulling double shifts and triple shifts and quadruple shifts. And like I said before, I don't believe he's a single person. I believe that he's got multiples of him. I think he's like, quadruplets at birth. And they all run around. You just never see all of them. You can't see them at the same time. That's all it boils down to. But
well, like I said, it was like Multiplicity, that old Michael Keaton movie where each one got dumber and dumber and dumber, and you're talking to like the 7th one in the line right now. So
there you go.
Yeah.
But that's one of those things that you've got to be able to survive and grow back from, and have. Brandon Vaughn. Remember, I think, what did he say? He had 5 guys. All of his lead techs walk out on the same day and went to work for somebody else.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't follow Brandon, but Oh man, I
That
love
was
this
years ago
comment.
that happened.
I love this comment from Ryan. Oh, that's awesome. But when I look back at it through the years, I mean, I've had guys that have been with me for 8 years. I've had guys that have been with me for 5 years. I've had guys that have been with me for 3 days. And I mean, I've had 75 employees techs over 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
And guys that I thought were good friends, guys who wound up disappointing me horribly. But I'll tell you something, and here's one of these pitfalls, though. And I don't mean to be the kind of jackass guy. Let me take that back. I mean, I remember talking to one guy who's like, yeah, I fired a guy because he took his damn shoes off of my truck, and I didn't want to smell his stinky feet. I'm like, and he was talking about employees. I said, you obviously need to hire 2 people, because I don't think a tech will ever make you happy. You need to hire 2 people and get the hell off the truck. Because if you're upset with him taking his shoes off, I mean, that's a little bit beyond the pale at that point. And yeah, our feet.
That's kind of nitpicking, and it depends too. I mean, the guy probably worked his butt off all day, tired, got to get the boots off, especially if he was a new hire to begin with. I mean, sometimes you start something new and your feet just hurt, that kind of thing.
Yeah. But in every time, there's been plenty of these relationships that I've let go on and fester for too long. And sometimes it feels absolutely, and you get held. I should have learned this. From this one lead tech that I had, and he got addicted to Oxy real bad, and literally, started putting us in a dangerous situation. Had to let him go 7-8 years ago. The signs were there beforehand, and I should have let him go much before then. I should have but sometimes we get so scared about ripping that Band-Aid off that we don't rip that Band-Aid off. This Band-Aid just got ripped off for me. And whenever I looked at Tanya and I said, I would rather literally risk 6 figures in money that we may not get in holdbacks instead of having to have these bums back, because I feel that good about them not being here at this point. That tells me everything I need to know right now.
Definitely. And I got some thoughts running through my head from just, I mean, over the years, when you sit back and you look at all the employees that you've had, and just like you said, sometimes it's better off to go ahead and cut them loose. If you don't cut them loose, they end up becoming that cancer, and that cancer can be that trip in the, that trip hazard in the road for you, because now you keep them on. Look, you don't have to get rid of them right away, but you can hire somebody else to train to replace them. And then once that person's, trained and able to take over that spot, then get rid of them. Why do you think in most cases when somebody turns in their resignation, unless you've got a really good relationship with that person, a lot of companies, when somebody turns in their resignation, the one thing that happens is they're let go like immediately.
Yeah.
Because they become a trip hazard. That's why they're let go.
Mm-hmm.
And then it depends. So sometimes employees just, I mean, like in your case, there was no notice. They just,
right.
Just a walkout kind of a thing. I look at those kind of people as just kind of chickens, I guess is what I would say.
Exactly. And I think one of them, I honestly hate to say this, but I think one of the things that kept getting brought up over and over and over again was, well, I don't want to get drug tested. And this company makes you get your FDOT, your medical card. It makes you, get because all the, their trucks are 11, 12,000 pounds or so. Everybody's got to be FDOT certified. I honestly think that some of these guys, or one of them at least, chose drugs over new opportunities. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of freaking sad,
Yeah, especially with you just selling your company right now. I mean, one of the things that that to me is stupid. I mean that you've gone from a company that had no offense to Ray or to myself, but a single owner operator, if you would,
Yeah.
To a major company where you're only probably going to have so much growth with a single owner operator style company, where with a corporate company, you could have opportunities to move across the country. You could have opportunities to grow within the company. So
this company is so amazing. This company is so free. I mean, I hadn't even been home yet. I mean, I literally went to sleep on the office floor. The transition team just left. I was talking to Tanya, and she was literally tearful. And she's like, "You won't believe this." She's like, "I gave them a stack of," because at one point I was breezing through the office because I'm having to cover the schedule that the two quitters just left that was already booked up. So I'm out washing houses today. We just started a 6-story garage today that was supposed to have 4 people on it. Now it has 2 people on it. And, but Tanya, and here's one of the benefits of the national company. We just had, I want to say it was just shy of $100,000 in Florida State University work from our contract, because Jeremy said, "Ray, I've got these invoices here." I was like, "Read off the names to me." He goes, "I need to know how long that's going to take." I was like, that'll be about 15 days worth of work right there. And then we have Westminster Oaks, which is a $40,000 a year retirement community we do the windows on. I said, "Jeremy, we're going to have to push this off till August or something." He's like, "No, don't worry about it." He said, "I'll bring the crews over. We'll get the Florida State and we'll get the Westminster covered in June." You realize how incredible that is to have a company that large that they can sit there and say, "Yeah, we can handle $150,000 in overflow." What some of us would like to make in a month or in a year, they can literally just pull extra staff on to do in 1 month. That is so impressive to me.
Yeah, and I had a thought. I'm having thoughts escape me lately. You know why? I got some stuff going on. But anyway, and my brain's thinking about some things, and your brain.
That's called early onset Alzheimer's, Doug.
Hey, I'm not the one that's falling asleep on the office floor.
Oh man, Wade brought up not only drugs, now the unemployment payments. They don't want to work. Absolutely, but I'll tell you what, I got, I think, 4 applications today on Facebook. I put an employment ad on Facebook. Actually, like, is your business hiring? Yes, it is. We got 4 applications in. We've got 3 interviews tomorrow on there, because Governor DeSantis and most of the other Republican governors have just killed that extra $300.
And that's going to be a good thing for all of us that are sitting here without employees, and now that they're starting to let go of that and allowing us to get those people off the couch and put them back to work. I mean, I think somebody, I don't remember who it was that said it, but I completely agreed with it. I wish instead of doing the $300 extra for keeping your butt at home, or the $600 extra a week for keeping your butt at home, they should have said, "Hey, we'll give you an extra $300 if you go back to work, or an extra $600 if you go back to work, or give the business owners a little bit extra to be able to hire more people, even though they don't necessarily need those people." So I feel like everywhere that this whole pandemic has gone with, and them shutting things down and we're getting off the track here, but man, it's just been a nightmare for our businesses, and it certainly hasn't helped.
Yeah, Brian does bring up a good point. What kind of work are those who have been on the couch? Honestly, yeah, I mean, I get exactly where you're coming from there. Probably not the greatest kids in the world, honestly. But, I was talking to a guy, one of the other guys from Crystal Clean that came over to deal with a window project. And he said one of his very good friends was a restaurant manager at the start of COVID. And, he wound up making more by just, and restaurants got hit real hard in the whole COVID thing. And he said he just started taking the unemployment. But
that's that, even the pandemic, that's one of those trip hazards that you just don't think about. And how do you plan for something like that when you really can't? There was no way for any of us to know that anything like that was going to come up.
Well, Wade is asking a question. Are they doing the instant recovery requirements? I think Florida requires you to apply for 5 jobs a week and show proof that you've done that. But Governor DeSantis was doing, he said, okay, well, you'll still get the supplemental 300 if you show proof of the 5. But see, if you get offered a job, you're required to take it. And then he came out yesterday and just said, no, we're just doing away with the 300 supplemental. It's gone,
I don't know. I don't know how the unemployment thing works nowadays as far as the tracking side of it goes. But I know that for us, like when we would run an ad for an employee, I kid you not, running an ad, we would get 200-300 applications in a very short time frame. And that's only because they're trying to keep up with their requirements. They're not looking for a job. They are looking to fill the requirements to be able to stay on unemployment.
Right.
I mean, I've told the story probably 1,000 times, and that, one of the applicants that I got, in my ad, it said, you've got to be able to move a 28-foot extension ladder safely. Right. You got to be able to work out in the heat. You got to be able to do this and do that and do this and do that. I mean, it outlined the job. And the lady that applied said, well, the only thing I don't think I would be able to do is climb the ladder because I'm 7 months pregnant. I'm like, you're seriously not applying for this job. I know you're not. Thinking back on it, though, I should have said, yeah, okay, you're hired. Come on. We know that, right?
Yep. Exactly.
Folks are definitely losing the art of grinding. I think that's why every now and then we get a young guy that comes in and starts up in his business. And that's who I kind of want to reach out and talk to a little bit too. And that is, when you're so young, you don't think about the pitfalls or the trip hazards or the bumps in the road, right? You're just gung-ho and going for it. I really like seeing some of these young guys, 19, 20, 21, 22, starting their own companies and going for it. Because to me, I look at that and I see what most of the youth are doing today, sitting on the couch, and they don't have any grind in them. Yep. And then you see these guys coming up. Man, that's the kind of guy I really want to help to begin with. And then I want to teach them and talk to them about making sure that that you set money aside for those bumps in the road, that you set money aside for those trip hazards, for, when you get to that point where you have an employee and then that employee walks out on you, having a game plan to replace that employee temporarily, like even using a temp service or something to that nature, as long as he's not necessarily like a lead tech, that kind of a thing. There's a lot of stuff you can plan for and a lot of stuff you can't plan for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's an old joke about the announcing your plans is a good way to make God laugh. And it's so true. And stuff's going to happen in this life. I mean, plants are going to die despite our best, efforts. People are going to quit. People are going to get into wrecks. I mean, there's such a litany of things that could happen. And, therein also, talking about, what's your risk tolerance, because you have to have some risk tolerance in there to do things like this, because let's face it, you have risk with other people driving your vehicles. You have risk with putting techs on there that you're not direct. Hell, you have risk just having a tech you're directly supervising. Mm-hmm. But there's only so much time in a day. And, being a single owner operator, there is a finite amount of money that you can make. Mm-hmm. And,
even today, Cajun Softwash, they had the transmission go out in one of their trucks today, and it was his newest truck. You've got to think about and plan for those things that are going to happen that you don't even that you're not thinking of, right? I mean, this is a truck he just put on the road. He just got it going, and if you don't set money aside and plan for those little things that are going to happen, you're going to end up leaving yourself in a bad spot.
Yep. You know, like Dave Ramsey always says, you know, you have your emergency fund, the first thing you work on. Well, as a business owner, you need to set aside that emergency fund. You need to have the stuff for whenever, you know, that big check doesn't come in. You need to have these things. So,
you know, with what Rich and Maria are saying, so that's one thing that I had guys around here, because everybody knows that I'm willing to help and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But that's one of the things that I didn't do. I mean, I wouldn't allow somebody that was going to work in my area come and work for me in my business, and then that's one of the things train them to go off and become my competition. I want everybody to do well, but I agree with that. I'm not gonna train you to have you become my competition. And it's not that I'm worried about that, but it's more because you're putting yourself at risk with them knowing who your clients are, your big clients, your small clients, and then getting to know your clients, that kind of thing. That's why I wouldn't do it. Invote. What's an invote? I think he meant invite.
It's a personal invote. You know, Scott's right. You know, you have to look risk and failure square in the face and be able to stomach it and take it, you know. And it's also, life is going to knock you down. And, you know, the only thing you can do on life is whenever life does knock you down is you get right back up and you say, you hit like a bitch, life. Bring it back.
Yes, Brian, I did. Brian's asking, did you use a non-compete? And I did, yeah.
See, and Wade saying I gave one of his techs a trailer, a pressure washer, and a reel. He's looking to build a business or so 5 hours away, you know, a year or so, 5 hours away. Yeah, that's a little different than somebody coming in there. You know, I've always told all my old techs, I've always told them, whenever it's time to not be at spray wash anymore, you're going to have learned a very valuable skill that if you want to support yourself for the rest of your life, you can do that. You know, you can take this and take what I've taught you and build a little business on there. And I have a couple of guys who've worked for me to this day, you know, still have small little soft wash setups that they use in their home improvement business. Nobody's, you know, competed on the size that I am, and nor would they want to. They see the stress that I've gone through.
You know, if somebody were to come to me and they same scenario, and they said, "Hey, I'm going to be 2 hours away from you. Would you train me?" I certainly would have done that. You know, I wasn't going to do it here in my direct marketplace. And again, it's not for fear of them in my market. It was more for fear of them getting to know my clients, and then I didn't want them to reach out to my clients. You know, that kind of thing. So.
Wade said he's not seeing some of the not seeing some of the live moments because we're broadcasting on both Facebook and on YouTube. So yeah, you're probably not seeing the comments that some of
you won't see all the. So the guys on Facebook won't see. Well, actually, I guess the way it would be, if you're watching on my channel, you won't see the stuff that's posted on Ray's channel. If you're watching on Ray's channel, you won't see the stuff posted in the Academy. And if you're in the Academy, you probably won't see the stuff that's posted on YouTube. So I guess that's how that would be.
Yeah.
So anyhow.
Somebody said that the subject today is his employee put his 2 weeks notice for a job with benefits and insurance. Now scrambling to try to figure it all out, but 1 month how I'm going to make it work. Any advice? Yeah. I hope you live in a Republican state because most Republican governors are killing the $300, extra credit weekly unemployment thing. Get out Facebook ads, get out there, start talking. Also, I still believe it's easier to hire somebody that's already working. I mean,
you'd be surprised if you stop at a gas station and you find some young person that is, really good, giving you really good customer service. If you go to a restaurant, they're giving good customer service. why not say, hey,
Awesome.
are you looking for another job? I'll tell you another thing. Reach out to some of your local churches and all. You'd be surprised. We got some good employees out of relationships that I built with some of our church leaders around here. And then last but not least, I mean, too, like I said earlier, if it's something where you're in a desperate need and you've got to have somebody, one of my best guys that I ever got, believe it or not, came from a temp service. And most of the time you think of a temp service, and rightfully so, you think of a temp service as, the bottom of the barrel a lot of times. But, I look at it this way too. Somebody that's sitting there at a temp service waiting, they really do want to work though. Yeah. Maybe they just need money. So sometimes they're worth giving a little shot to, giving them a chance. I set rules for myself when I use somebody from a temp service. And if they show up, I tell them what I'm looking for. I tell them what I'm willing to accept and what I'm not willing to accept. Yeah. And if they show up and they don't fit what I need or what I want in appearance, in their attitude, in their language and whatever, then I turn around and I send them right back right then. And the advantage to using a temp service is simply that you can just call them up and they'll send you somebody else, like right now.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
I'm also dealing with a cold for the last couple of days too. I felt so damn bad. I went and got my corona test. Was it yesterday or the day before? And turned out negative. But
hey, hey, Scott walked in the door. Hey, man, Scott, what you doing here? Oh, hey, Scott. No. Yeah. Go back.
Don't let Scott peck on you now. That's funny. So, another thing, and I talked to Barry Shields. Barry called me yesterday, and I talked to him for a bit. And I was telling Barry, I had a guy call me recently, and it was just before the transition, and I was so crazy, and I wrote the number down on a sticky, and I gave it to Tanya and said, we need to call this guy. And Tanya's like, yes, we do. And we don't know where the sticky is now. But he was somehow tied up with the Florida prison system, and it was helping offenders get back to work and find meaningful employment, because a lot of them, as they're coming out of prison, have a hard time getting that. And I'd be willing to do that. Absolutely. Oh, Rich and Marie are saying that, gotten to the
and look, that brings up another point there, that the state will actually pay sometimes for like this, for the drug tests. And I don't know how it would work if they were trying to drive vehicles and all that. I guess you'd have to check into all that. But another thing is veterans organizations. There's a lot of veterans out there that are ready, willing, and able to work. And so you can reach out to the veterans organizations. I hadn't really thought about using the prison system. I get it, but I guess it'd just be like interviewing anybody else.
Right.
And I think being honest with I could see building a business around that, to be honest with you. I mean, if people know and you tell them, hey, look, we're hiring people that have paid their dues, and we're sending them out and helping them rebuild their lives. I know lots of people that would support that.
You got to get rid of that.
Which one?
There's no www on that. It's just courses.spraywashacademy.com.
Oh, did I put up the wrong one earlier?
Yeah. So I'm in trouble for not calling Scott. Scott, it's been such a damn time. I'm so sorry. It's been rough. So vets would be an amazing place.
You're actually looking better than I thought you would, and you look like crap, by the way. For those of you that don't know, Ray has been very sick the last few days, and went and got his corona test, and then not only that, but he's been working double shifts or triple shifts, one or the other,
Did they make quadruple shifts? I think I might have been on that too.
Yeah, well. I think you've been on that. So
kind of crazy.
And that's one of those trip hazards.
It is what it is. I mean, And you know, and that's one of these things too, where we talk about, you know, whenever we really get into it more and talk about selling your business, you know, the one thing that DBSAP, the one thing that you know, it's different each time you sell your business. It's, you know, you sold it and you were what, 45, 60 days with the person, right?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
How long, whenever you sold your business, how long did you stay with Cajun? I mean, you're still basically.
Look, so the way, I mean, I'm not contractually obligated to him any longer, but I'm still, so my obligation with him was 60 days.
Right.
I think. So I think my legal obligation was 60 days. Might have been 90 days. Honestly, I don't remember. Might have been 90 days. And then I think it was 60 days. So I think it was 60 days was my obligation with another 60. Look, to me, it didn't matter. I mean, I can't even remember. It didn't matter. You know, I know that my goal is for Cajun Soft Wash to continue to grow, and I continue to support him and to support the efforts of Cajun Soft Wash. So, and I will continue to do that for as long as I'm, you know, because it's still my baby.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure if Crystal Clean, once your time is done with Crystal Clean, and they call you and say, "Hey, what about this customer?" You're still going to help them out.
Yeah, and you know, it's yeah. So I took a 6-month contract. Tanya took 18 months, and I've got 6 months that I've got to be with them, and they may wind up wanting to give me another six-month extension on there. But again, I want them to sit there and think, man, I got an amazing freaking buy whenever I got this. This company, you know, this was the best buy we got in the whole Crystal Clean family. I mean, you know, they went from $1 million to $1.4 million in the first year. You know, I mean, I want them to be able to do that. It's because I still have some pride with what I created out here. You know,
any good material for Google AdWords and SEO, trying to understand how I can use Google AdWords to grow a little, seeing some results, but not what I'm wanting. You know, one of the things about that I'll ask is that what are you using for like your keywords and all that kind of thing? Because one of the things that we've debated over before, soft wash, pressure wash, you know, power wash, all those keywords, you want to be using those keywords and using them correct. And to be honest with you, soft wash has really gained. So before, if you were using soft wash as one of your keywords, it was really kind of pointless. Where now I think it is a good keyword to have. People are actually looking for it.
Yeah.
Any good material for good? Well, that was Pat Clark.
No, that's a different Pat Clark.
Oh, that's a different Pat Clark.
Yeah, that's a different Pat Clark.
I was like, I'm looking at that, and I'm going, what is Pat playing with?
You know, I mean, Doug and I are one of these guys. I mean, admittedly, you know, and I get a fair amount of you know, requests just from my website being out there for as long as I am. And I mean, I had a pretty damn deep website, you know, built. And whenever I built my website, I'm going to try something here. Let's hope that this spray wash.
Well, he's trying to pull that up. You know, I also would encourage you to, Pat, I would encourage you to look at Facebook. Facebook is, I know a lot of guys that say, Facebook doesn't work. It doesn't work in my area, which can be true. I'm not saying that it's not true, but I think that a lot of the guys that have been down that road, you know, haven't done it correctly. I want to be careful of how I say that, because I know a lot of guys that have said it just doesn't work. But then some of the guys that I've talked to about that said it didn't work, I go in and I look at their Facebook, or I ask them about their business page. Well, I really don't have a business page, or, you know, I got 200, likes on there. You know, 200 people like my page. You haven't done enough to get your business from it. So you need to get the like count up in order to have that help you with that. So I wouldn't give up on Facebook. I think Facebook is better than Google in some ways. And then also I would encourage you to start using YouTube a little bit, because remember, Google owns YouTube, and it can be a good thing.
I mean, whenever I had this, and I had pretty darn good, I actually had extremely good rankings with just my good old fashioned GoDaddy site, but I would go in and update my blog all the time. I would go, and work on it and play with it, but if y'all notice, I mean, on my website, I mean, I spent a bundle on this website, and it's this is a 20, 30 page website, here, this our spray wash website. I mean, this was not some little small, but it wound up getting just, they can pay online if they want to, gives thing to all of our reviews. I actually just removed Broadly to get rid of that, galleries on here. So it goes in, ties into my Facebook feed right there on it. I mean, like I said, we got pretty darn deep on our website, invested a lot of money on that, but at the same time, I'd much rather, I mean, the money I get from building a relationship is so much, stronger and just, almost automatically, sold. But then, looking too, and I'll show you, I'm going to share one more time. Let's see here.
While you're trying to pull that up,
I got it right here. So, I mean, here's how it works. And keep in mind, I actually spend no money on marketing whatsoever. I mean, on AdWords, keywords, any of that stuff. I cut that off last year at some point, and so here's estimate request at 329, 910. Then there was 2 estimate requests yesterday.
Which, if you guys remember from one of the last lives that we did, in the selling of your business to a corporate entity, not advertising is a bad thing, not a good thing.
It really is. I mean, that was one of the things that one of the potential buyers sat there and said, well, you don't spend any money on advertising. Yeah, I don't need to. Well, whenever, you leave and I have to send somebody else down there, how am I going to replicate what you do,
Mm-hmm. Because at that point, they look at it from what I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, Ray, but they're looking at it in the aspect of you are the business.
Right.
And so if you go, where, are we still going to have that business coming in? Because if you think about it, if they can say that you spent $5 over here on advertising and you got $50 back, they can make some calculations
and scale that. So now let's go spend $500 and get,
if you're not spending any money on advertising, then how do they do that?
Yeah, well, I did the first website myself. That second website I did not do. So
I love me some Brian Harris. I'm just going to say it.
Brian's awesome.
I said Harris. You said, sorry, Brian. I don't know why.
Said early onset Alzheimer's. Early onset Alzheimer's.
That's that Alzheimer's. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Brian's a really good guy. I love Brian.
Brian's awesome.
One of the really so actually, I don't know, Brian, what are you even doing on here, man? You don't even wash anymore, you loser. So Brian Paris actually sold his company quite some time back, and he rebuilds and fixes guitars. He still does sales for the company, and he also does he hangs the Christmas lights and things. And Brian's doing very, very well. And yeah, I'm glad that you feel like we were a big part of your story, Brian. But you know as well as I do that without your drive and determination, brother, it would have been
true.
It's all on you. You can't blame us for your success. You got to blame yourself.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him think.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right. So.
Oh,
You're
Scott,
okay.
Scott is just relentless tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I sell washing still for another company. Oh, so not for your company, your old company. For another company or for your old company? That's what I'm wondering. Anyhow, what time you got to go back to work, Ray?
9.
9 o'clock.
Yep, I got to go put on employee number 7 clothes again.
And it is bright.
Woo, baby! It was. I kind of like.
So they're having. So they're wearing the Crystal Clean stuff instead of the spray wash stuff already.
Yeah. New truck should start coming in next week. The new trucks come in next week, so we'll be actually moving the spray wash brand. Will be. Right now it's Spray Wash Crystal Clean. How can we help you? And then we'll be merging more into Crystal Clean. Our customer base has been notified that we've been acquired by Crystal Clean. Mm-hmm. I think I got sidetracked. We started talking about the SEO, but I want to go back to circle back around. But we're talking, very rarely. So whenever you start getting your exit strategy on this business, I've not heard of one yet where somebody has just come in and says, "Okay, here's your $1 million. Get out. We don't need you. We don't need you anymore." That's not how it happens. I mean, it's you're going to typically have to be there for a certain amount of time, either to help train the new guys or to make sure that your accounts prove out, something like that. Hey, be safe, Wild West. Hope everything's okay. You're going to have to wind up. You're going to wind up being with your company for a little bit. It's very rare that somebody's going to come in there and stroke you $1 million check and say, "Okay, I want your company. Be gone."
Yeah, and I think in order for that to happen, it would have to be another local wash company that already knows the area, already is in the area, and they're just acquiring you and your customer base. I think that would be about the only way that you would get stroked a check. And right. I doubt that it could be, a large
that size full of a truck. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think they would do it with a large, customer base stroking a large check and just saying, "Sure, go ahead, walk away," kind of a thing. And unless they're getting a fire sale, they're buying the $1 million company for, $500,000, just because there's a death in the family or a sickness or, whatever the case may be.
All right. Scott's saying he did that. So he has no compete, ran out, and we cranked back up and put him out of business. That's my boy.
And there you go. Yeah, I don't know how you would buy a business and not have a no compete in there. I mean,
it says it ran out. So, I think mine's 3 years worldwide. I can't even go to the Bahamas and wash.
I think mine is 3 years. I think. So you can't even come over here and be an employee for me.
No, I can't. Somebody called me last week and said, "Hey, will you come down here and wash a hotel for me? I've got an 8-story hotel. I've never done anything that high." I'm like, I can't,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was getting ready to click on the same button. Kobe Hunt, it's definitely cheaper here than in some parts of the country, but like Ray says, do a quality job and sell the sizzle, not the steak. Don't worry about the $99 house wash guy. We talk about that all the time where people are always worried, they're ruining the market. They're taking the thing down and, the $99 guy and all that kind of stuff. Man, the one thing I always think of when I hear that, I mean, I think of now I can't think of his name. I hate this. Let me just call him Harris, right? So Phelps, Michael Phelps, right? You remember that picture? And he's swimming, and it's the Olympics, and I mean he's focused, right? And the guy that's in number 2, the lane over, is looking at Phelps trying to catch him, right? If Phelps were to be sitting there looking back at him, trying to make sure he's staying ahead of him, he'd be losing his focus,
Right.
and he wouldn't win those medals. He wouldn't have won the race. He wouldn't have been able to accomplish what he accomplished because he's too worried about who's behind him. Don't worry about who's behind you. Just stay focused on what's in front of you and go. That's it.
Real, guy that I absolutely, love him to death. And today we actually subcontract out a lot of jobs to it. And he called me and he said, man, I think I might have left my backflow on one of your trucks. You got an extra one sitting around, and you have an extra one? And I was like, well, I said, whether I do or not, you're welcome to have one of mine. Hell, it might be yours. They all look the same. I said, I'll be over there in 20 minutes. Where you at? He's like, St. Augustine Hills Apartments. I was like, oh, I bid on that one. And, I went over there and just high-fived him for getting it. And I'm like, I'm so glad that, you got this. And it wasn't, a shitheel that got it. And, I'm glad they went with a quality service, and it was, a 5-figure job for him. And I'm just tickled to death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got I think I told you earlier, I got a text from somebody that I've been helping out a little bit. We've been helping out a little bit. And he finally hit his first $10,000 month. And he's very happy about hitting his first $10,000 month. And I'm happy he's hit his first $10,000 month. And that's one of those things that as you start to grow, and you've got to, again, stay focused, stay in your lane, just go for what you're going to get. Because right now he's had a $10,000 month. Well, guess what? The next thing he's going to do is he's going to have a $10,000 week. And then he's going to have a $10,000 day. Eventually these things happen. You just got to give them time. And that's the other thing that I see a lot of times is guys saying, well, man, I can't get there. I can't get there. I haven't been able to do this, and I haven't been able to do that. Stay in your lane. Stay focused. Prepare yourself for those things, for those hiccups in the road and those bumps in the road and those trip hazards and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh, guys,
you gonna survive it?
Yeah, I am. Sitting here looking at envy with these guys talking about running around and taking the RVs around and playing. And
yeah.
One day.
Yeah.
Which, ironically, what I'm getting into after this is going to just keep me even busier than the freaking washing did. But
yeah. You're gonna be a busy beaver, I can tell you that.
Oh man, you know it. But hey, I wouldn't. It's better to wear out than rust out.
That's it.
I love what.
So when do you think we'll be able to announce that? It's going to be a while, huh?
I don't know. One day soon.
One of these days soon.
I'm looking. Oh, I'd love to go out to Moab. I'd love to go see the.
Oh, Moab is awesome. That's beautiful.
One of the prettiest places I've ever been was Zion Canyon. God, that was amazing.
We just came back from there. About a month ago, I guess. Went up to southern Utah, stayed in a cabin up in the woods there a little bit, and was disappointed in the cabin because it had all electric heat and it had a pellet stove, and it was cold. We had snow and ice on the ground, and it was cold. But if we'd have lost power, I mean, what's the point of a log cabin with no wood stove? I mean, it had a pellet stove. Pellet stoves require electricity. So if you lose electricity, you're going to freeze your butt off. It just didn't make any sense. But anyhow.
Yeah, Destin's. We're just over at Destin's. Awesome.
If he were to make porn, he'd go broke. Why do you think he got into the water?
Oh, come on. You know that there's got to be a fetish out there for me. That's Dave Yelson. Yeah. There's got to be balding, graying.
Turn your head to the right, Ray.
That guy.
No.
Oh, wrong way.
There you go. Give it a kiss. Lean forward. There you go.
Did I just hold your? Never mind.
You missed it. You missed it altogether.
Doug just made me kiss his. Yeah. Damn.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
It's the Dom DeLuise finish. There you go.
Yeah, Dom DeLuise. Exactly.
You know what? I don't know why we ever bother putting titles on because we don't ever stick to the title.
It usually goes off the rail within the first.
Yes, you do, Scott. You need to say it. No, that's probably better not.
Oh God.
Spent the weekend in DC. Got to see my daughter graduate. That's awesome. We got to see the White House from about 150 yards away. Didn't fire any rounds. What's that? Oh, no. Couldn't get the hotel fast enough to take a shower. There you go. Anyhow.
This is a family show, so that can't be up there long. So, yeah. Lordy.
Yeah, this is a family show. There you go. All right, Ray.
Yes, sir. Well, y'all wash on, and I'm sure we've got some cool projects this weekend that we'll. I'm gonna finish up a garage. Today's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's garage, and it's really just a nice rents down. I'll try to bring some pictures for that.
Hey, you got my text earlier?
No.
I don't know. Way earlier today.
I'm sorry. I'm.
It was about garage, about garages.
Air leaks in your system. Check your email for the first part of that too. Yeah, Alucobond. Oh my God, I'll be the guy in charge of the freaking Alucobond.
Alucobond. You know what? Depending on the color of Alucobond, it can be really easy or it can be a nightmare.
Absolute nightmare. You know, yeah. I'm finding, the two of the major things on the Alucobond is if you're getting sloughing paint on the Alucobond, it's a nightmare. And if you're getting the hydrocarbons on the Alucobond, that can be a nightmare. Mm-hmm. But if you're just getting a lot of spotting and green on there, I'm finding that just a nice, very light house wash mix and then a pure water rinse, RODI, especially if you're the charcoal gray or the navy blue or the royal blue, man, that's your friend on there.
Yeah, and don't hit them hot, though. I mean, first of all, cool the panels down a bit and don't hit them with a hot mix. That's it. You're going to cause that oxidation to happen. And you're going to create such a big problem for yourself. It's not even funny. And it's amazing, what an RODI system will do to them on, for a final rinse to help even it all out and bring it all clear. Because that, especially that sky blue or navy blue panels, whatever. Oh God, I hate those.
Ugh.
The ones that are about this color. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit lighter than this. I guess more like your hat. That color there is,
that's rough. They show up every freaking water spot.
Yeah, but I think getting the hydrocarbons and stuff like that off is a lot easier than getting all the oxidation off of them, where the paint's really just. Oh man, it can be a miserable mess. We left one panel was kind of up on the inside on a Honda dealership. And we purposely left it to see, when we were done, how everything looked. And boy, it was an amazing difference on how that one panel looked. We didn't think, because some of that you look at it and you're thinking, man, is this really, I'm nitpicky on my own stuff. So I'm really anal about my jobs, and I want to make sure that they are just top notch. And man, we would. The first time we ever really got into it, man, I was fighting those panels, trying to get them so perfect, and
Yep.
and all this, and you know, leaving that one panel helped bring it all into perspective as well. Had to go back and clean it, but you know, it really did help us bring it into perspective. So,
Absolutely.
anyhow,
All right, got to get out of here. I'll see you.
See you later, employee number 7. Wash
Talk
on.
to you soon.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
See you guys.